Do you ever sit down at the piano and you want to make beautiful music, but you're just not sure what exactly to play? Or maybe you do have a chord progression, but your left hand kind of gets in the way and feels clunky. I have a great left hand pattern for you to try today. And if you stick with me to the end of the video, you will be playing in the key of F major, an absolutely beautiful chord progression. My name is Rebecca, and welcome to my piano studio. I have a passion for teaching people how to make beautiful music every single time they sit down at the piano. So, if piano improvisation is a dream that you've had, but perhaps nobody's ever shown you how, maybe this is your first time at the piano, or maybe you've been playing for a really long time, like I did. I had so many piano teachers, but not one of them taught me how to improvise. It's a skill I just kind of had to learn on my own. If this is something that interests you, make sure that you are subscribed and you hit the bell icon so that you know every single time I upload a new video. I would love if you would let me know today, if you have been playing the piano for a long time, what about the left hand really trips you up? Is it having different left hand patterns, or is it having a clunky left hand? Whatever it is, I have a video just for you. If you'd like some different patterns to try out with your left hand, check out this one. It's a great one for beginners. But today I'm going to show you a great walk down pattern that is perfect for any chord progression that has chords that walk down from one another. I'll show you exactly how to fill in sound using the walk down method. So today we mentioned that we are going to be playing in the key of F major. So let's look at what the key signature is for the key of F major. So for the key of F major, we are playing between an F and an F, and there are all white notes except for one, and that note is the B. So instead of playing the B, we're going to play the black note that's right to the left of it, which is this one, and this is called a B flat. So we'll skip over the B and play from F to F. Now, whenever we start improvisation, in a new key especially, we want to play the scale. It doesn't matter if you don't know the scale fingering, you can just use one finger, just to get our ears used to the new scale and that we know which white notes and black notes to play. So here we are starting on the F. We're going to play all of the white notes up to the B flat, skip the B, and then continue on to F. Here's the B flat, skip the B, now we're going to start with how to form chords in our left hand in this key. So each of the notes of that scale is going to form a different chord. So in the key of F major, we're going to start with an F on the bottom, and then we're going to go up 3 notes, 1, 2, 3 to the A. And then if we start on the F again and count up 5 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we get to the C. So F, A, and C is our first chord in the key of F major. We're going to start out with triads. Triads are 3 notes at a time that are stacked on top of each other. And if we go up the key of F and each of the notes forms this stacked triad, those are the chords in the key. So for example, here is our first or our tonic chord, which is F major. Our second note in the F scale is a G. So if we keep that same pattern where we do 3 notes on top of one another, we have a G minor chord. The third is an A minor chord. The fourth is a major chord, and it starts with our B flat. So we have B flat, D, and F. Our 5 chord is major, and that is a C major chord, C, E, G. Our 6 chord is minor, that is D minor, D, F, and A. Then we have a diminished, which is E, G, and B flat. We don't use that a lot in improvisation, but sometimes we do. And then we're back here. So I would recommend before you even begin to go through these different chords and just make sure that you are playing the right notes for each of the chords. And then you can go back down. And those are all the chords that you're going to need in your left hand to create this melody. Now that we know our key and how we form the different triads, we're now going to learn the chord progression. Now I'm going to start out in triad form, and then I'm going to show you this pattern. So first we have our first triad, which is our FAC. And anytime we begin with a chord progression, it's best to start with the one of the chord built on the first note and end with that, because it will teach our ear that the song is beginning and that it is ending. So we have first our F major as our first triad. Then we're going to go up to number 5, which we remember was our C major chord, C, E, G. Then we are stepping down to our 3 chord, which is a minor. So we have 1, 2, 3. It's built on the A, and that's an A minor. So we're going from the C to the A minor. Then we're going to the 4 chord, 1, 2, 3, 4. That was our B flat chord, B flat, D, F. Then we're going to step down to our 2 chord, which is built on the G, G minor. 2 goes very nicely into 5, which we know is our C, and then back to 1. So let's look at that entire chord progression in order in triad form. Here we go. First we have an F chord, C chord, A minor, B flat, G minor, back to C, and then back to F. So I would try those, write down that pattern, and try it in triad form before we go on to our pattern of our left hand, which might be a little bit easier for your hand depending on how your hand is. We now know our chord progression, but now we're going to do one of my favorite patterns that if you've been around a little while on my channel, you will know that I do this in a lot of my videos, which is representative chords. So we're going to be looking at these representative chords, which simply means that instead of playing the triad, like instead of playing the F, A, and C, we're representing that chord by playing an F octave. So we're playing an F and an F, and that could be enough for you. If you just want to stick there, that's fine. If you can put down one more note, we're going to put down that 5th, which is the C in the middle with our 2 fingers. So we've got F, C, and F. Now I'm going to show you all of the representative chords, and then I'll show you what I meant from the beginning about our walk down pattern. So we have an F first, then we went to our 5 chord, which is a representative C chord with G in the middle. Then we go to our minor 3, which is an A minor, A with E in the middle. Then we have our 4 chord, B flat with F in the middle. Then we go to our 2 chord, which is a minor, G minor, G with D in the middle. 2 likes to go to 5, so we have our C with our G in the middle, and then back to 1. So you have several choices when you're playing this way. You can play them all together like I just did, or you can arpeggiate them, which is where we start at the bottom and go to the top. Or you can start at the top and go to the bottom. Or you can do some combination of the 2. You can play 2 at the bottom and 1 at the top. Or you can hold them all. That's up to you. So I always like to do something like this. So whatever pattern you choose, go through and do the entire chord progression. And now, if you will notice that from the beginning when we were doing our triad forms, I kept saying that we were stepping down, and I want you to think of these chords as steps. So if you have 2 chords that are 2 numbers away from each other or 2 notes away from each other, that is a step down. And let me tell you what I mean. So first of all, we start with an F chord, which is our 1. Then we go to a 5 chord, which is C. But then the one after that is a 3 chord. So 5, 4, 3. We're stepping down. So we're going from a C chord to an A minor. But the little trick that we're going to put in is we're going to step down with our hands in an octave. So here's what I mean. So we start with the C, and the note in between, going from the C to the A minor in the key of F, was our B flat. So we're going to hit the C chord, we're going to hit the B flat because we're stepping down, and then we're going to hit the A minor. So we're doing 3 notes in a row that are stepping down from one another. They're called stair steps. So let's look at that again. So we start with F to C, step down to A minor, and then we're going to our B flat. Now our next chord after that is another step down. So we have a G minor. So from B flat, we're stepping down to G. So the one in between is an A. So it'll sound like this. So we have our B flat, A, and then G minor. Then we go to our final 2 chords. We have our 5, our C chord, and then our 1 chord. So here is the pattern all together. So now automatically we are going to put both hands together at the same time. Now this is not something to intimidate you because we're going to start pretty easy. I want your right hand to begin in a 5-finger pattern. So we're going to put our hands in the first 5 notes of the F major scale. So we have F, G, A, B flat, and C. Now normally I begin with putting both hands together by alternating between left hand and right hand. But this time we're going to play all of them at the same time, but we're going to keep your right hand in this 5-finger position. And the reason that I'm doing this is because to work on this coordination of walking down to our next chord with our left hand, those 2 times that we do it, we need to be playing at the same time. So we're only going to be doing 4 notes at a time in the right hand when we do it. So it'll sound something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, switch chords. 1, 2, 3, and then on 4, we're going to do our walk down. And then we're ready for our A minor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So give that a try several times. It does feel a little bit different because on those 2 chords, when we are on the C and we're walking down to the A minor, we're hitting that B flat really fast for just 1 beat. So we're doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So give that a try as many times as you need to. Keep that chord progression in front of your face. I always just use a sticky note and stick it on the top of my piano so I know exactly what I'm playing and what note comes next. So the next part of the puzzle is doing a melody in the right hand. And the only thing that I want you to remember for this melody is the fact that we are going to be playing our scale from F to F. Any notes in between that are in the F scale, skipping that B, remember, playing the B flat instead, is going to sound wonderful. So go very slowly and let's give this a try using just a melody in our right hand that is the octave. Now that we've worked on a melody in our right hand and you realize that any notes between F and F, making sure that we play the B flat instead of the B, is going to sound wonderful, we're going to now do some chords in our right hand. So let's look at the chords and we'll talk about inversions as well. Don't be afraid of that word. We'll get to it. So we have our F, A, and C to start. And then we have C major. A minor, and we're not doing a walk down in our right hand, just in our left hand. B flat, G minor, C, and then F. So let's start with these root position chords. Root position just means that you're doing these stacked chords of the third and the fifth on top, just like that. Your hand will be popping around a little bit, but don't let that scare you. We're going to get to something that sounds a little bit more smooth in a second, but let's give this a try with both hands now. And you can play the root position chords all at the same time, or you can arpeggiate them as well. Now that was probably a little bit difficult because your hand is popping around. So inversions, though they seem scary, are actually going to help you out quite a lot. So here's what an inversion is. It simply means that instead of playing the root position chord every single time, you can play that chord in whatever order is easiest for you. So that means you could play F, A, and C for our F chord, or you can take the F off the bottom, you can play it at the top, or you can put the A off the bottom and play that at the top. All three of those chords are F chords. They're just different inversions of them. And they may help your hand to not have to move around as much. So now let's look at our C inversions. We have the root position, the C on the top, and then the E on the top. So I would go up and down with each of these inversions. And then we go to our A minor, first inversion, second inversion, and then come back down. Then we have B flat, first inversion, second inversion, and then back down. G minor, first inversion, second inversion, and come back down. And then C again. And then we're back to F. So go through all of the different inversions and just kind of teach your hand what these different patterns are. After you've been doing the first inversion and second inversion and root position for a while, your hand will start to recognize those different feelings. So just go through and very slowly play the different inversions with your right hand until you feel fairly confident with them. Then I'm going to show you how I make some different decisions about which inversions to play in my right hand before we put both hands together. Okay, it's time to make some inversion decisions, and this is actually one of my most favorite things to do with my chord progressions because it actually makes things a lot easier for your hand. So we can do several things to begin, but the decision that I'm going to make right away is we're going to start with our F root position chord. So we have our F, and now we're going to our C chord. Now, the notes for the C chord are C, E, and G. We already have a C down, so we're going to use that. And we notice that G is right here, really close by, and then our E is close by. So we have E, G, and C. Watch how much better this transition is then going from root position F to root position C. That's a big gap for your ear and your hand. So if you have F to our second inversion of C, it's a lot easier, isn't it? All right, then we have an A minor chord, which is A, C, and E. We have E down already and C down already. The only thing we're missing is A right here. So we went from C to A minor. And then we're going to B flat. We have B flat, D, and F. So here's our F. Here's our B flat. And we can either take this D or this D. So I think I'm going to take the one at the top. I'm just liking that better at the moment. So you can decide anything you want in the moment too. All right, so let's do the whole thing so far. We have F, C, A minor, B flat. Then we have G minor, which is G, B flat, and D. We already have B flat and D. We just need to move this up to G. And then we have C, E, and G. And again, several choices here. But let's take this C, this E, and the G that's already down. And then instead of going back to our root position F chord, we have F, A, and C. Let's go to this one. I think that sounds like a really nice ending. Okay, let's make sure that we've got all that before we put hands together. We have F, C, A minor, B flat, G minor, C, and F. And already that sounds really pleasing to the ear. We did not have to move our hand outside of basically right here, this 5-finger position. It really doesn't move that much. All right, so now that you've practiced, you know what choices you're going to make in the moment. We're going to now put it together very slowly with our left hand, including our walk down patterns. Let's give we've worked on some inversions in our right hand, and you need to give yourself a round of applause because that is a scary thing to do for somebody who's never done that before. But it really, I hope you can see how much easier that has made the right hand. So now that your hand has kind of learned the patterns of different inversions, it's now time to give use to any notes that are in between any of those inversions. What those are called passing tones. So if you think of your hand in a 5-finger position, every single time you play a chord, you have all of the notes that are around the chord to add to your melody. For example, we have our first chord here, and we have our 1, 3, and 5-finger down. But we have our 2-finger and our 4-finger that are hovering above this G and this B flat. This doesn't mean you play them all at the same time. I mean, that sounds kind of cool, but it's a little bit muddy for the ear to play 5 notes at the same time. So what you can do is you can use these other 2 notes as passing notes, and they pass by in order to get to the chord. So it can sound something like this. Hear that? So we had all of that variety because our hands were in that 5-finger position. Let's look at one of our inversions. So let's look at the A minor inversion that we did. We have E on the bottom, A, and C. We can now make use of where our other 2 fingers are. So our 2 fingers hovering over this G, 4-finger is hovering over the B flat. So they can be our passing notes. So we have... So our chord is here, but our passing notes give us more variety. So it could be something like this. Hear that? And that's all because we have that 5-finger position. Let's just do one more. We're going to do our B flat. So we have our B flat, D, and F. Our 5-finger position includes the 2-finger over the A and the 4-finger over the C. So we can have something like this. So thinking of that concept, we're now going to put everything together. Now, I'm not going to stick with exactly the same inversions that we just chose. I'm going to kind of just let my hand do whatever. But now you understand that doing whatever means that you are making use of any of these inversion chords and any of the passing tones. So let's now give this a try where we're doing our left hand chords, our passing tones, our inversions, and our chords in your right hand, and let's create something beautiful. Wasn't that absolutely beautiful? Let me know in the comments below if you are looking forward to trying this chord progression, if you've ever dived into the world of playing in F major, and if you will try this walk down pattern in your left hand. It's something that takes a little bit of getting used to, but once you do, you're going to be addicted, and it's going to help transform your improvisation. YouTube thinks that you'll really like this video, so make sure that you click on it and let me know if there's anything I can do to help or any questions you have. I would love to consider doing that. Until then, enjoy practicing, and I'll see you in the next video.